My name is Rebecca Galding. I am a teacher. I have been in Amelia for 23 years, but this is my first year teaching special education. I switched over this year and I love it. The class that you are viewing are all special needs students. It is made up of 9 total. There are 3 girls, 6 boys. Of this class, 2 of them are VAP students. 7 of them will be taking the SOL test. There are 4 8th graders and 5 7th graders in a combined self-contained class. This is a lesson that I have used before with general ed students. In fact, I've used it for many years with general ed students. I like the lesson. It is in the station format. Students can rotate from station to station. I thought it would be a good closure for energy conservation. We have been working on energy conservation and energy conversion for the past week.
All lab stations today will require goggles. There is one lab station, which is lab station number 2, that requires gloves, and the gloves are already on the station. Today you will rotate through the lab stations in this circular motion. You will not rotate until you have finished both lab stations at the table. So there are 2 stations located per table. At each station, there are directions or your procedures. There are also a worksheet that goes along with each station. So if there are 2 stations, there should be 2 worksheets. The worksheets will be filled out per group. So that means in this group, there will be 1 worksheet for 3 people. If you need assistance, you have both myself and Ms. Gibbons that will be available to help you, not only to read, but also to write. Now, it is very important that you read instructions. If you don't read, you're not going to know what to do. I am very aware that you're going to need some assistance, but for the most part, these instructions are very simple. As I look on the board, I see some of your vocabulary words made it. Some of you stopped because I had started talking, and I appreciate that. You will be working with thermal energy today. Thermal energy, we know, is the motion of the molecules, and we also know that that is part of heat transfer. You will notice that I have started in motion at the back the pan of hot water. So that means hot water is going to be required at 1 or more of the stations. Either myself or Ms. Gibbons will be responsible for getting that to you when you get to that point. Okay? Questions? Next, nuclear energy. How many of you think we're going to be dealing with nuclear energy in the classroom today? Why, Gabe?
This is bad for you?
Because it's
Gabriel.
I think they use it in bombs or something. So.
Well, it could be used in bombs, but where else do we use nuclear energy?
It's gonna fit.
your station for what?
Yeah, it's gonna fit.
They need help.
I wonder how, but it's gonna fit. It's gonna melt tomorrow. The poison milk overnight. That would say it's gonna milk overnight. So we're gonna keep it overnight. Just gonna do it.
I didn't get them to do it because
Which color
I didn't know filter. I know
absorb the
things.
most
I know copper gets burned.
Logan? Which we call
Kind of like that. You do that. It has 2 pins of magnets going around like that.
Okay, so the magnet.
Which?
Yeah, because when you shake it, it goes like that. Or
She being red too.
So we're gonna
What kind of
record their
energy are you
temperatures.
asking for if you want hot water?
Okay.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Okay, we can hook this up to a battery.
But
You got one in the shaded area?
No, but I think you have to go like somewhere
If
like
you want hot water,
back there.
What kind of energy is best?
Yeah.
So what energy?
Spin it.
Tell me. That's for the first one. Tell me what I need to write.
Who's playing? Ain't nobody playing shoes.
Hey, ready?
No, the experts.
Not that way.
And I want you to tell me what type of energy conversion is happening. Do not shout out. I want to know what type of energy conversion is happening. What am I starting with? And what am I ending with? Gabriel, what am I starting with?
What, Bob? Mechanical energy?
That's what I'm ending with, because it's moving, it's spinning, so that's what I'm ending with. One of the end results. What am I starting with? Kyle,
Electrical.
where's the electricity coming from?
Battery.
So what kind of energy is it? If it's in a battery?
Chemical.
Good. Chemical, producing some electrical, ending with mechanical, but there's some other type of energy there also.
It's wind.
What other type? What else do you see, Jacob?
Nuclear?
I don't see any nuclear energy there.
That's all I'm trying to say. I'm thinking, in the wind, like the atoms.
No. Nuclear is going to be the splitting of an atom. What else do you see, Kent?
Colors,
Lights.
Light or radiant, because remember, light energy moves in waves, also known as electromagnetic.
The challenges with this group, as you could see, was memory retention, trying to get them to remember and make associations with things that we had done in the past. That's with a lot of students who have learning disabilities. It's continual. You work with them, you continue to find and look for strategies that will help them. What you will find out, however, is if you do something that is hands-on, they will remember that a whole lot quicker than if you just hand them a worksheet. So therefore, I'm always looking for things that are inquiry-based that allow them to work with their hands. If you took notice of how the students were grouped, there were 3 separate groups, 3 students in each group. All of the females were in a group, and then there were 2 separate groups of males. All of the girls that were in the group, there is one student that tends to be a leader, there's one student who loves to write, and then there's the other student that tends to be brought along. They work very well together as long as they're not chit-chatty and they need to be checked on frequently. But they do tend to complete their work with assistance. In the middle group, which was station 3 and 4, you have the boys that are non-readers. Most every child at that table was a non-reader, and you notice that the aide stayed positioned at that table to not only read to those students, but to also scribe for those students. And they pretty much got through their task ahead of everybody and were actually doing the extension activities while they were waiting for the other tasks to end. The gentlemen that were at stations 5 and 6 were mainly 8th graders, with the exception there was one 7th grader there, and you would notice that there was one student that was extremely mechanically inclined, loves mechanics and cars. There was one student that was very quiet, wanted to take the lead a couple of times, but was kind of outnumbered. And then there was another student who would participate if prompted. Assessment is one of those issues that, for my students, is more individualized than what you would see in the regular ed classroom. I look at multiple pieces of data. I look at student participation, student responses. I look at what a student is doing as far as in a notebook. I look at what students write down. I look at student questioning as far as what questions are they asking me. I also do formalized testing, but I may reduce answer choices for students. So there's a lot of testing data that goes on. It may be more informal than formal, but it is still testing data. Of the students that you saw, 7 of the 9 will actually take the SOL test. 2 of them are VAP students, but one of those is slated with a parent conference within the next week to decide whether or not that student will be removed from VAP and actually go to SOL. So, and all of that is a result of collection of data that says that the student may be better suited for the SOL test because with specialized training, and what we do is read out loud the test to them, and the student's disability is reading, that they may do better on the SOL science test than collecting VAP information. For you, looking at my students, you may see them as being very weak. But for students that I have worked with since the beginning, I see only growth. They have come to associate things, even when they use the word acid, when normally that would not be in their vocabulary. That is a growth for me. And when they would refer to the chem plate, which is another inquiry-based learning that we had done in the past, that's not something that they're used to doing. So therefore, I see only growth in my students where you may see weakness.